is Andy Flint. I'm the Director of Information Services for the Spartanburg County Public Libraries. Today I'm going to talk about the book Brothers in Arms by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Brothers in Arms is the story of the 761st Tank Battalion, which was an African American unit in World War II. A lot of people don't realize it, but many African Americans participated in the war. I believe the number is about 1.2 million. I'm going to read an excerpt from it here that talks about their contribution. The service roles that the majority of African American soldiers performed in the war were crucial to the Allied victory, including maintenance, engineer, and ambulance duties, as well as the construction of the Alaska Highway through Canada and the Lido Road in Burma. But tens of thousands of African Americans did, in fact, see combat. 22 African American units fought in the European theater of operations, including 9 field artillery battalions, an anti-aircraft battalion, 8 combat engineer battalions, and the 761st and 784th Tank Battalions. African American combat units in Italy included the 92nd Infantry Division and the 758th Light Tank Battalion. In the Pacific, they included elements of the 93rd Infantry Division, 2 Coast Artillery Battalions, and the Anti-Aircraft Barrage Balloon Battalion. When the replacement situation in Europe grew dire in 1945, thousands of African Americans, many more than the 2,500 requested, volunteered to take up rifles beside white infantrymen. The thing that I always enjoy about reading these books about units is that they usually talk about how several of the main characters were inducted into the Army. It goes into the details of their training, and then it goes into their deployment, and finally the action scenes that they faced. That is sort of standard in memoirs or unit histories of the Second World War. The thing that stood out to me in this one is that these guys had to deal with the normal stuff that I've always read about. The uncertainty, the fear of being away from home for the first time, the wonder about what they were going to do. But these guys that fought in this battalion and other African American soldiers also had to fight discrimination. This unit was attached to 4 separate infantry divisions in World War II over the course of 6 months. Every time that they switched units, they had to put up with discrimination, snide comments about what they were incapable of doing, and they had to prove to them, to their fellow soldiers, that they could do the job. In every instance, they earned the respect of the other infantry divisions and the soldiers that they fought beside. They went above and beyond to support them. And that comes through in this book. I found out about this book several years ago when I was doing book selection in a different job. I do a lot of leisure reading about World War II, and this book interested me, but I just always let it slide to the side. As we came into 2021 and the social events that we're looking at over the last couple of years, I decided it was finally time to read this book. It was very, very good for me to read it. It emphasized a lot of the things that we see in today's society, the discrimination, and it reminds us that these guys were pioneers in civil rights, and they were just like everyone else. They wanted to do their part to fight for their country and to win the war. I'd recommend this book to anybody that enjoys reading about the military or military history, and anybody that really is looking for stories. As I've read stories about units in the past, I feel like a lot of the stories ring true and follow the same pattern. But the differences are in the details of what these men went through. Reading about the discrimination as these guys went into camps in the South. They did not feel safe going into towns and villages outside of their camps because of the Jim Crow laws. A lot of men were beaten or killed because they were black and they were on liberty in white towns, and they ended up in the wrong part of town. they had to fight for their rights and they had to watch out for themselves in the end. And that makes this a very different book and gives you a new perspective on what these guys went through.